All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Arya. I'm a customer success manager here at Atera, and I will be moderating today's webinar. I do see that my camera and my mic seem to be working, so if anybody can just let me know in the chat that you can hear me okay, I'd really appreciate that. I have gone through an entire webinar before without anybody seeing my screens or hearing me. Awesome. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. And you guys can see my screen too. All right. Awesome. All right, so this is going to be a RMM training webinar on the PSA platform. So if you are currently subscribed with the IT platform, this is still very much relevant to you. There might be some small differences in terminology, but in functionality and in looks and feels, it's really going to be very much the same. If you guys have any questions as we go along, feel free to jot them into the Q&A. I don't see anything coming in yet, so I'm just going to go through my typical training as it would be. Before we head into the platform, I'm just going to shamelessly plug some of our other webinars that we have. We have a full in-depth training that we do for network discovery, for patching, ticketing, and for billing, as well as a PSA training webinar, which is a dedicated hour long. On top of that, you guys have knowledge base. You have access to Atera's blog. There's also the Facebook group for community support and our 24/7 live chat technical team, always available to you from the platform. Let's go ahead and hop into the Atera platform, and we will take it from there. I think you guys should be able to see my screen. So we are going to go ahead with that. All right, so as I'm sure all of you should recognize this by now, this is the Atera dashboard. This is the homepage for all of your all-in-one view of everything going on within your environments. The dashboard is, of course, customizable. You can click on Edit Layout, and here you will have the ability to toggle which of the widgets are relevant or which ones are not relevant. So see if you go ahead and turn off all of the PSA ones, for example, you will then notice that they all disappearing. You can reorder to have your priorities at the top just by clicking and dragging, and then of course clicking on Save to implement those changes. It takes a couple of seconds for the dashboard to reload. I usually try not to do that during live webinars because it seems to eat away at some time. But here you can see that some of the widgets have disappeared. So yeah, so definitely set up the environments as it would be most conducive for you guys. At the top, you of course have your ticket count. That's all for PSA. But at the top right-hand side, you will have your alerts, which are being triggered by the threshold profiles that you have assigned to your devices. We're of course going to get into great detail as to how all of that works and how you guys should definitely set that up. Atera comes with a fully functional built-in CRM. So of course you want to make sure that your customers are set up. If you're an IT department, you won't see the word customer. You will have sites instead. So here you will set up your sites. Under that, you will have your departments or your contacts within that, and then you're able to monitor and manage all of your environments accurately and as best as you need. We're just going to run through really quickly the CRM and see what you guys have available to you. Once you access a customer, you'll of course have a row of tabs at the top of the page. Your contacts, your contracts, your devices that you monitor. You can of course add devices as simply as clicking on the new dropdown and accessing the agent installer. From the customer directly, if you click on the three dots, you will have the customized agent installer. The difference between the two of them is that this will install an Atera agent and then automatically assign that agent to the unassigned category or the unassigned folder. As opposed to installing here, it will automatically assign the device to this customer, as we will have that record of where the command was sent from. You also have the install agent option over here as well. That's all available from any page within Atera. You don't have to look too hard or too far to find that option. Any tickets, that's again PSA, so we're just going to skip over. The alerts that have been generated for the devices for that specific customer will be over here. We have a password manager on the customer level, on the contact level, and on the device level, so you can get really granular with your password management. Any important attachments, and then invoices, of course, for those of you using billing. Once you have all this set up, you will have you'll be able to easily and quickly access your user's devices, all from here as well. So for example, if I click on one of my contacts, then here I will see all of the information that is relevant to him. In this case, there's only just the ticket. Not sure who my devices are officially assigned to. Well, we'll find it as we go. All right, well, that brings us over to our devices. So Atera is essentially an all-in-one solution that combines RMM and PSA to work seamlessly together to give you a fully functional system or operation base to run your MSP businesses or your successful IT department. You can do all of that all from one place without having to go too far. But Atera makes it really easy for you to set up, to get up and running. As simple as just installing an agent on any device that you want to monitor and manage, and then all of that just runs kind of from there almost on its own. In terms of devices that we can monitor and manage, Atera has well, we have native agents that we have available for our PCs or for your Windows devices and for Macs. We currently have a Linux agent with our beta testers. It's going to be available for production hopefully within the next week or two. So for those of you that are interested in that, as most of my webinars, I have that question come up. So it's currently being finalized with our beta testers, and that will be available in production very, very shortly. So on top of that, you will of course have the ability to monitor a multitude of other devices. For example, our SNMP devices, TCP devices, websites, and generic devices. Your generic devices are of course anything with an IP address essentially can be monitored by Atera. So once you have your Atera agent deployed to a customer's device, a workstation, a server, what have you, all of those devices will, of course, be visible to you under the Devices tab on the left-hand side. Most of our technicians live and breathe here, as this is where you kind of have a really good overview of everything going on within your systems. You can see all of your devices, you can see their availability, a breakdown of their alerts, any patches that you may have available. You can try to wake devices if they're offline, as long as you have an online device in the same network. We'll be able to send that ping, and of course, access remotely if the device is online. So in terms of accessing devices remotely, we'll just speak briefly about that. Atera's base RMM tool that we offer for all of our subscriptions is Splashtop. It is included with your subscription regardless of which tier you select. If you are on our growth or on our power tiers, you have access to any desk as an alternative available with your subscription at no additional cost. So to access a device, it's as simple as, let's just find one that's online, as simple as clicking on connect. Why don't I should have that available. Okay, here we go. Simple as clicking on connect, and RMM and Splashtop will pop open on your device. I think the fastest I ever had this open was about 11 seconds. I got pretty close. But here, as simple as that, and I have access to the device. It looks like one of my French colleagues was using this. We can see this is all in French. All right. No, this is German. I pressed on Danish. Come on. But anyway, you can see as simple as that, I am in the device. I have access to everything that I need, all the remote capabilities available to me. You can select your default, whether it's Splashtop or AnyDesk from the admin settings over here. And in addition to that, we also offer, well, actually, you can't see that from here. We have TeamViewer and Screen Connect, which we have the integration available to you, but we don't offer the licensing for. So if you have an existing license for TeamViewer or for Screen Connect, feel free to migrate that over and use that with your subscription. I see there's a question already from Anonymous. Is there's a way to add a non-network device such as monitors, peripherals, etc. for asset tracking? So at the moment, unfortunately, no. We don't have that ability, but our product team is working on a asset management tool. I am not entirely sure if that's going to be available on the MSP platform. I do believe that that is going to be an IT department feature. but don't hold me to that. Things are always changing. If you are interested in that, then you should definitely head over to the feature board and find that feature request and upvote that. The higher the vote count, the more interest is generated. The product takes that into account when they decide what we're going to be going forward with. Just we'll update you as it becomes available, whether it's going to be MSP and IT or just MSP, whatever. But it is something that we are going to be implementing somewhere in the near future. So those are your basic RMM tools. Again, SplashUp is available for our Pro, Growth, and Power users. AnyDesk is available for our Growth and our Power users. I believe both of those are available on all three of our IT department platforms. I don't remember exactly if it's the top two or not. Additionally, from here, you can, of course, manage your devices. You have your basic controls for things like patch management, inventory control, software inventory. You can run scripts directly from here without going too far. Command prompt and PowerShell for your Windows devices, or terminal for your Mac devices is going to be available over here. You can also see some user activity, and you can, of course, access our third-party add-ons directly from here without having to go into our partners' platforms. You're able to deploy Webroot, Malwarebytes, Acronis, Bitdefender. All of that is available from here. Before we go into the Atera agent and work our way back work our way backwards out of there, I will just make a quick note about our filters. A question that comes up very often from the more senior MSP guys is if Atera has group policies or groupings that you can run, bulk actions and stuff on. So in your CRM, you have the ability to create. Let me just show you that so that it's less confusing. What if I head over to my customer and I go to my devices tab? So here you can see that you have the option for folders. Here you can see that I have a folder called Linux. I have I think this is a Linux device, or this could be an SMP device that I have as a Linux device. I have a Windows Workstation. So I have a folder that I can create and assign devices to that folder. From the customer itself, I can, of course, I can run automation profiles, I can attach threshold profiles, I can do these bulk actions for the specific customer. But if I want to do this across multiple customers, we do have a way that you can do that. So if we head back to the devices page, you'll notice that you have a filter option over here on the right-hand side. Let's go ahead and select that filter. From the dropdown, you can see that we have quite an extensive list of different filtering options that you can do. And now this will pull information or pull devices from across your entire environment. Everything from their type of status, availability, a device type. So for example, if we select our PCs, we will see then, of course, everything here changes specifically to my PCs. All my Macs and my servers have been left out. Once I have these specific devices that I'm looking for, by the way, in the advanced filters, here you have access to even more filtering options. So I can filter out based on, for example, a device name, specific hardware information, network information, available or non-available patches, specific software, operating system information, like I can really get really granular with the type of groups that I create. Once I have that selected, I can go ahead and save that as a view. So for example, this was all of our PC. So I'm going to call it PC view. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then from our dropdown, of course, it's going to be available over here. So I have a view that I had saved earlier for my monitor devices. And you can see that we go back to our PCs. Once I have this view pulled up, all I got to do is select all, and then I have my bulk action item. So if I want to reassign an automation profile, I can do that. If I want to run a script across all these devices, if I want to reassign a threshold profile, or anything else that I want to do, for example, deploy something like Malwarebytes, which, by the way, Malwarebytes doesn't have a way to mass deploy from them. But with Atera, you can deploy Malwarebytes across all of your devices without having to work too hard. Bitdefend, I'm not sure why. Oh, there we go. Webroot is separately. You have all of that available to you over here. So instead of the traditional groups, you can have a view that you can save for all of those devices. At any time, you can, of course, add and remove devices to that view, depending on, of course, the filtering criteria that you have set up. All right, let's go ahead and move into a device, and we'll see everything that the Atera agent is doing over here. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little parched. All right, so this is the Atera agent. Of course, this is what's sitting on your devices, monitoring all of these wonderful things. So first and foremost is, of course, going to be the device name. This you can change, or this changes with every change of the device's name itself. The current status, online or offline. Of course, with an offline device, you'll be a little bit limited with what you can do for the device. With an online device, you of course have a lot more flexibility. You have the same options over here to connect the device. As I mentioned earlier, splash top on any desk, TeamViewer and Screen Connect, you have that option. From this manage dropdown, you do have a couple more options over here that you didn't have in the previous page. So for example, the registry editor, file transfer, pausing alerts, all of this is available from this manage dropdown and not from the previous page. So if you have some more specific things that you're trying to do, you may have to go to the device itself as opposed to the general devices tab. You can, of course, enable or disable or start a chat. This is a feature that is available for our growth and our power tier users. Very popular, highly encouraged way to communicate quickly with your end users. You can activate or deactivate the help desk agent, which is the customer portal on the end of the of your end users. That's another way that they can get in touch with you. And then, of course, editing the device itself, things like reassigning or reallocating the agent to a different department or a different customer or a different user if you need to do that. You have your password manager. I mentioned that you have that on the device level. So here you can keep track of that. Monitor devices is actually, so as I said at the very beginning, we have a native agent that you can install on your PCs, on your servers, and on your Mac devices. Everything else, unfortunately, can't install software on just based on the restrictions of those types of devices. But what you can do is you can assign those devices to an Atera agent for monitoring. That's how you get alerts for your SNMP devices. So for example, if there's a printer problem, you'll have that OID throw up an alert. It is monitored by a device that has an Atera agent on it. So if you have the agent installed on one of your main servers, monitoring the rest of the network, you can assign all of those SNMP devices to that one server, and that will all be visible under the monitored devices. I will find an SNMP device, find which device is monitoring, and show you that more specifically, how that works. And then, of course, you can create a ticket for this device from here. Below that, you will have all of the basic information of the device. So, of course, the machine name, the assigned work group, availability monitoring. So by default, availability monitoring is disabled for your workstations, for your PCs, your desktops, your laptops, all of that. It is enabled by default for your servers and for your SNMP devices. As SNMP devices don't have the Atera agent on them, you want to know if there is an issue with them. So we have that enabled. And servers, of course, are more critical devices. So we have that enabled. At any point, you can enable or disable availability monitoring for any of your devices just by toggling that on and off and clicking on save. Next time this device goes offline, I will receive the alert that that device is offline. You can see when the device was added, when it was last seen, when the last logged in user has logged in, the last time it was rebooted, and of course, the IP address for this device. The assigned customer and the contact assigned available here as well. Over to the right-hand side, we will have a breakdown of all of the alerts that are triggered for this device. So here you can see that I don't have any hardware alerts, no disk alerts, no availability alerts, and no performance alerts. I do, however, have 2 patches available, and I have 3 general alerts. I can click on the patches, and that will open up a pop-up window just to show me which patches are available. This can take a few extra seconds as we are confirming with the backend server and the API call that we do to Windows to make sure that the patches that you see are up to date. Here you go. You see they just popped up. And then from here, I can go ahead and select all and install them. I can select one or whatever specific one I want to do and install directly from here. That is the manual way to do that. I will also show you the automatic way to do that through the use of our patch management and automation profile. So we're going to get to that in just a few moments. The general alerts, Here I can see that I have 3, and then a breakdown of my alerts is just going to be below that on the right-hand side. You'll notice we have this category, this area for profiles, and we're going to talk about that in just a few moments. The metrics that are being pulled from the device, this is of course memory and CPU usage. By default, we show you the last 24 hours, but you can see up to a month going back, letting you know if a device's issue is a reoccurring issue or a brand new one. And then of course, all of the software, hardware, and disk information is going to be below that. And then the use of custom fields, you will have all of the information that you need over here. Custom fields are really popular and really important, as there's a lot of specific information that is relevant for you, which isn't necessarily relevant for some of our other users. So definitely go ahead and use the custom fields. Create the ones that you need. Use Atera's API to populate those fields automatically for you. That way you don't have to manually do that every time you add a new device. With things like specific serial numbers, warranty information, if work from home is enabled or disabled for that specific device. That way you can keep track of all of that important information. You can use that for filtering on the devices page. You can pull reports off of all those custom fields as well. Really makes it really robust and a fully functioning system for you guys to use however you decide you would like it to be used. So we don't tell you what you should or you shouldn't do. We definitely give you the tools to do it how you would like to do. All right. I mentioned the alerts over here, and that brings us to our profiles. So Atera has, well, we used to have 2, but now we have 3 main profiles that you will have for your devices. We have our threshold profile, we have our IT automation and patch management, IT automation and patch management profile, and our configuration policies. Each one of these has a unique and a specific role to play within your environments, monitoring and managing your devices. So let's go ahead and talk about our threshold profiles. You can click on manage, and that will direct you over to the threshold profile page. You can click on the specific profile and it will take you directly to that profile. Another way to access that is, of course, from the admin page. So if you just select admin, and you'll notice this area over here is our RMM monitoring settings area. So let's go ahead and start with our threshold profiles. There is no limit to how many threshold profiles you can create. Let's start with that. You should create as many as you feel are necessary for your type of business. However you provide service, that's how many threshold profiles you should have. Simple, basic service should have a simple, basic threshold profile. More specific, granular, high-level service, you should have a more specific, granular, high-level threshold profile. As I said, no limit to how many threshold profiles you can create. The exception is, of course, how many you can assign to a device. You can assign 1 threshold profile per device. And the reason for that is we don't want to have conflicting threshold profiles monitoring the device itself and then throwing up conflicting alerts every time a specific threshold is met or isn't met, depending on the profile. It's too confusing for everybody. So you have the 1 threshold profile. It's as simple as clicking on adding a profile to add a new one. So let's go with RMM webinar training. I know I used these words before. Actually, webinar. I don't think I misspelled it once before. Yep, there we go. So there we go. We just created a threshold profile. As you can see, it's completely empty as we haven't added anything yet. So to make life a little bit easier for you, especially if you're new to the MSP field, if you're if you're coming from a break-fix model and you're moving into the MSP model of business, you may not necessarily know what you'd like to monitor. You can go ahead and use one of our presets. So if this is a PC or a desktop, these are the more common monitored items. If you have a if you have a Mac device, I apologize, then you can, of course, select Macs. For laptops and for servers, you have all of these different threshold presets that you can use for the profiles. All of the presets that we have are editable. You can change them, you can remove them, the things that are less relevant. So for example, if I want to play around with, well, let's say I want to give it a specific name, something that is a little bit more catchy or something that I can figure out faster than memory usage critical alert. I can give that a name. I can't change the category and I can't change the alert severity of a preset. What I can do is I can, of course, change the threshold itself and the time period for the alert to come up. But the most important thing about our threshold items is the auto healing option that we give you guys. You can see that by the run script option. You can just go ahead and select and add a script that will automatically run every time a threshold item or alert is thrown up based on the threshold being met on the specific device. I already forgot which one this was specifically. I think it was memory usage. So let's say I have an alert that comes up for high memory usage. Usually that means I have a bunch of softwares that are running in the background. So what I would do in this case is probably kill a bunch of those software, right? So if I head over to the shared script library, you can see 760 scripts are available over here. I would search for a script that has to do with software. Let's see if I have one. I'm like talking about this as if it's a good example. No, I don't have one that will end services. Okay, well, let's say I get I'm running out of memory space on my device. I can then add the script that will remove temporary files. For example, let's say that was the threshold item that had thrown up. So once I have that cloned, it has now been added into my script library. From here, I can go ahead and find that. And we said temporary. There we go. I can go ahead and select that. So every time that this alert is thrown up, then the script will automatically run, taking care of the problem for you. You don't have to lift a finger. The customer doesn't even realize that there was an issue that was taken care of on your end, and you can sit back, relax, and let Atera do all the work for you. So essentially, use the scripts to help save you time, take care of the reoccurring small little things that are just time wasters. As I'm sure most of you didn't get into the IT world, to empty out people's trash and turn off and on again devices. You can have Atera run all of that automatically for you. For anything that isn't, why is my cursor frozen? There we go. I think I froze too. All right, I think I'm back now. Good. For anything that isn't available on our presets, you can of course add that from the custom items. So if we go to our new items here, you can see that we have both a few more presets and some custom items. So from the presets, we have installed software, we have uninstalled software, and we have failed login attempts alerts that you can set up for your specific devices. From the custom option, of course, you can select a much larger option of alerts that you can set up. So for example, things like disk alerts from Smart, you can monitor antivirus options if the firewall goes down, let's see if there's if you want to monitor specific services that are running on those devices, if software is on or off, depending on, you can capture events from logs. All of this is available to you to play around as you will from here. Select your alert severity, information, warning, or critical. Remember that we don't offer external notifications for information alerts. However, we do offer that for warning and for critical, as well as resolved alerts. So if you have a script that is going to auto heal or auto resolve an alert for you, you can set up a notification letting you know that there was an issue that has already been taken care of for you, and you didn't have to do anything for that. You can see the supported OS is of course going to be Windows and Macs for the alerts that are relevant to Windows and Macs. And of course, we will have Linux available here as well once that becomes available in our production environment. Off to the left-hand side, you of course have the name of the threshold, and of course you can see who it's applied to. We haven't applied this yet to anybody, so this is going to be empty. But once you have a threshold profile that you've applied to your customers, then you will have a list of those available devices over here. You can enable and disable a threshold profile. If a profile is assigned to a device and you disable it, there will be a little notification letting you know that the device has reverted to the default threshold profile. Now, the default threshold profile is the profile that we have pre-made for you, and it is automatically assigned to every single Atera agent that is installed across any environment, unless you change it. That way, as soon as you install an Atera agent on any device, you are automatically monitoring it, automatically receiving alerts and notifications for that device. Again, in the interest of saving you time and work, Atera does all of that for you without you having to worry about a thing. And that brings us over to our second profile, which is our patch management and IT automation profile. Very similar to the threshold profile, there is no limit to how many you can create. By the way, if you guys have any specific questions up until now, again, I don't see anything coming in, and I hope I'm not just rambling, and that you guys are getting the information that you're hoping to see. So please let me know if there's something more specific. I'll be more than happy to show you and explain, and that's kind of what I'm here for. So we'll definitely looking forward to all of that. So the patch management and IT automation profiles, same thing as the threshold profile. There is no limit to how many profiles you can create. The key difference between our automation profiles and our threshold profiles is there is no limit to how many automation profiles you can assign to a device. Threshold profiles, just one per device. Automation profiles, no limit. Assign all of them, automate everything, have Atera do all of the work for you. That way you don't have to worry about a thing, except for the notification that the payment from your happy customer has gone through. That's the only thing you'll have to worry about. So here you can see I have quite a long list of different patches or different automation profiles that I have created. On the bottom left-hand side is our global exclusion. So anything that I exclude over here will be excluded. All of these patches will be excluded from all of the profiles that I have created. Even if I have a profile set up specifically for that one patch, if it's excluded globally, it will not run. You'll get an error notification that the automation profile was unsuccessful. On the bottom right-hand side, you of course have the retry settings. So if you have an automation profile that is scheduled to run on a specific device, and that device is offline at the time, at the scheduled time, then here is essentially how often we will retry to do it based on the preset time. The retry will be at the top of every hour for the duration that you set. So if it's 1 hour, so we will try it again 60 minutes later. If it's 1 day, we will try it 24 times over the next 24 hours. 1 week is of course 24 times 7. You get the ideas. So set this up as you will or as you need. Creating a profile is as simple as pressing on add profile. Same thing over here. We're going to call this RMM webinar because I made that mistake before. So I'm going to do it again. All right. All right, and this is our patch management and IT automation profile. There's a couple of best practices that I can suggest, but then essentially you guys set up your automation profiles for the way that you feel is best for, again, the services that you provide, the environments that you run. You guys are the IT professionals. I am just an account manager and I'm not a technical person. So if you feel that there's a better way to do this, by all means, do it your way. We're not gonna reinvent the wheel with you guys. But what we suggest and what we encourage is, again, the idea of multiple profiles for the same device. And there's a number of reasons for that. And one of them is, first of all, to make sure that all of the patches that are set to go through successfully. If you have one automation profile that is running all of your patches or all of your updates and installs onto one device, there's a pretty good chance that something might not go through exactly as planned. So for example, if I have all of my OS patches going for one device, and I have my critical and my security going, updates going at the same time. Critical and security patches almost always have a mandatory reboot attached at the end of them. If I have something like a software update going on the same time and the same automation profile, that reboot may trigger before the software has completed the update, killing that process. And then the results that you'll see is that the automation profile ran successfully and that everything has been fine. Well, in reality, something didn't necessarily go through as best as it could have. That's one of the reasons why we encourage separating or having different automation profiles for different things. Another reason is that if something doesn't go through, you know exactly which automation profile is the problem or the culprit in this case. So we encourage you to do something along the lines of have an automation profile for your critical updates, have a separate automation profile for your security updates. For these two, you should select reboot if needed. That way the reboot that is required there goes through right away without having to wait. For everything else, we suggest that you have a reboot automation profile. Just have an automation profile that does, the only thing it does is it reboots the device. Have that run on a Saturday morning at 3 a.m. when most people aren't in the office, so there's no risk of anyone losing data, information, things like that. And then once a week, you'll have this automation profile restart those devices for you, making sure that anything that has been patched over the week goes into effect properly. Have your service packs, your drivers, all of that should run separately, again, just to increase your success rate. We give you control also over your local Windows updates. So if you enable that, then the end user won't receive the notification that there is an update available from Microsoft on their device. A keynote there is that the end user has the ability to override this just by going into their settings and checking for any updates available. They will be presented with the available updates, and they will have the ability to install those updates. We don't have the ability to prevent that function from happening, as well as Microsoft always maintains and retains the rights to push whatever automation, whatever update they deem necessary, and we can't stop them from doing that. I don't think anybody really has that ability to. So if anyone has told you they can, I'd be really interested to know how they figure that one out, because we can't. Your Mac updates, of course, for your Mac devices available over here. And then, of course, the local exclusion for patches, just clicking on manage, and then the list of all available patches from Atera will be made available over here. Speaking of the patches within Atera, Atera pulls its patches for Microsoft from the WUA API. So everything that Microsoft makes available on that server, Atera has the ability to push and to patch for you. There is an option for the WSUS servers as well. You can access our knowledge base and read up on how to have that set up locally. We auto present you guys with the WUA API, and then for Macs, whatever is made available from the App Store, you have we're able to push from here as well. Speaking of software patch management, if you have softwares that you would like Atera to update, we are able to update third-party softwares. As long as the software was installed from Chocolatey or from Homebrew, which are the public repositories that we work with. They're very in-depth, very extensive, so you have almost every software that you could possibly want are available there. If anything isn't available there, you have the ability to install software using scripts. So if you have the software sitting on one of your own servers, you can deploy from there to those devices. You can create a software bundle for easy onboarding. Let's say you have a customer with specific software requirements. You can create a bundle. So just clicking on the select, you can then select either an existing bundle that you already have created, or you can go ahead and create a new bundle for your Windows or for your Mac devices. Again, Chocolatey and Homebrew is where we will be pulling that information from. Once you have a software bundle created, go ahead and select run this profile on newly installed agents. That way, every time you install an agent for that customer in their own environment, the automation profile will trigger and the software will be auto-installed for you. Things like Zoom, Teams, Google Chrome, more specific software that you may need for that customer. That way, again, you don't have to do that manual labor. We're saving you time. We're automating all of these simple tasks for you, so you can focus on the big picture items, which is kind of why you got into IT in the first place. You can upgrade Windows to its latest build, Windows 10. Currently, we don't have the option to auto upgrade from 10 to 11. That is something that we will be adding, of course, a little bit down the line. And then, of course, your disk management and maintenance. You should have all of this run as you guys deem necessary. You can schedule the automation profile just by clicking on add schedule. So you can select your frequency. This could be a one-time thing, or this could be a reoccurring automation or reoccurring profile. So let's say I want this to run weekly. Let's say this is going to be that rebooting one. So I want it to run every Saturday at 1 a.m. I'm just going to go ahead and select that. Click on save. All right, so every Saturday at 1 a.m. Let's wait for this to update. Oh, it's done. Yeah, I missed that. So here you can see that the next execution time is going to be November 5th at 1 a.m. Of course, I want to be notified that my automation profile went through, so I'm going to go ahead and add my email address over here, success@atera.com. Go ahead and hit that plus. And then when this automation profile runs, I am being notified that the automation has triggered. Last but not least is who this is going to be applied to. So if I click on apply to, again, we haven't applied this yet to anybody, so I can go ahead and select the customers that I would like this to go to. I see all of my customers. I can go ahead and select all across the board. I can go specific. I can also increase my bottom line by adding a higher level of service to specific customers or their specific devices. And I have complete granular control as to who, when, and how from here. Once that is added, go ahead and click on save. Then I will be able to see those customers and their agents or any folders that I have for them. So that is our automation profiles and our patch management profiles. The third option that we had on those devices was our configuration policies. So configuration policies, I'm sure you guys know much better than I do what they are, but essentially they are the rules that you can set up for your environments or for your customers' networks and have all devices follow those policies. I'm sorry, I have the hiccups and I can't seem to stop them. So we currently have one policy available, and that is controlling reboots. Right now, if a patch or a specific software install goes through and there is a reboot requirement, if you have reboot, if necessary, selected, that device will reboot as soon as that patch has completed installing. There is no snooze option at the moment. There's very little time for the end user to save work in case they notice that it's about to happen. So you get around that by our configuration policy. You can set this up and then essentially control when those devices reboot. Even if there is a mandatory reboot, all that, the policy is what will control and maintain and monitor those reboots. With time, we will be adding more configuration policies to our configuration policies. So if you have any ideas or suggestions, we're really happy to hear what different types of policies you guys would like to see added. Let us know through the use of the feature board, from a live chat with our support team, or reaching out directly to your account managers via success@atera.com. We'll be more than happy to hear what you guys have to say on that matter. But essentially, you give your policy a name, give it a description. Let's say we're going to go with test 1, 2, 3. Once you have that, you can select the Windows Update restarts. So you can do it by device settings. You can disable the auto restart when the user is logged on. You can restart outside of active hours, and then select those hours of when that it's supposed to be, or restart after a select time period, meaning whatever time after the trigger is set to go, plus that amount of time, up to 180 minutes. It's 3 hours. Yeah, it can postpone something for 3 hours. And then here's, of course, where you'll be adding your customers for this policy to be applied to. All right, so we went through our thresholds, we went through our automation profiles and our configuration policies. In the scripts, this is, of course, where you can create or upload your existing scripts. All of the scripts that are available in the shared script library are checked for malicious code by our teams. You can check based on votes and number of clones, which ones are more popular, which ones are reliable. You can see some of these have been cloned 8,857 times. That's a pretty reliable script to use in order for the function that you're trying to do. Here you can see that these are likes, and we encourage you to like the scripts that are better for the things you're trying to do, as not every script is going to be specifically set to your environment requirements and all that kind of stuff. Then again, you guys know this more than I do, so definitely put that to use. For our SNMP templates, we also have a shared library, so this makes it really easy to monitor your SNMP devices without having to go to Google, find those OIDs. So if you go ahead and click on the shared SNMP template library, you can see, oh, we broke 300. We were at 277 or 288 for a while. Nice to see that we're over 300 now. Here you can just find the device you're looking for. So let's say it's going to be some sort of firewall. No, fire. Switch is probably a better option than a firewall. Here is going to be all the different types of switches that you have available to you. So if you go ahead and clone, it is then added into your library, and then you can see, for some reason I couldn't clone that, probably because I clicked too fast. All of the available OIDs for monitoring. You don't have to go anywhere to find them. You don't have to get in touch with manufacturers. Go to Google, ask on communities. All of that is available to you here. If you have OIDs that aren't available, as they used to say, be kind, rewind. Well, don't rewind, but definitely upload it to the SNMP template library. All of our users will be pretty grateful for all of that. All right, let's talk about our alert settings that we can set up. As I mentioned, that for our warning and critical and resolved alerts, you can set up alerts outside of or notifications outside of Atera. So you could definitely put in an email address and be notified via email every time an alert is triggered. We also have this available as push notifications from the Atera web app or mobile app, I should say. So just make sure that that is selected. Once that is toggled on, select what services you would like this to go for. Enter the email address, click on plus. If you would like to have those alerts run outside of your typical working hours, you can go ahead and select that of when you would like that to run, or specifically between specific hours. Apply that to your customers and click on save. You can play a little sound notification every time an alert is triggered, and then of course automatic ticket creation from those alerts can be set up over here. Let's head over to our alerts page before we head back to our devices. Now that we have our threshold profile set up and assigned to customers, they are of course going to be triggering the alerts. Here you can see some of the I'm wondering why I don't have, oh, I know why. Okay, so here you can see the threshold profiles that have triggered alerts for our devices. These went about 2 weeks ago, and the reason why nothing sooner is because this is actually the current laptop that I'm using to run this webinar. And I recently changed the threshold profile that isn't monitoring anything specifically. That's why there's no alerts for that. But here you can see the alert severity, the category, hardware, network. This is an alert that is being triggered by our network discovery add-on feature. General alerts. What else do we have? Performance, availability, access. Yep. Those are the categories that we have. You can of course create a ticket automatically from here, or you can see that we have some auto-created ones, and then of course managing the device if it's online. Again, as it's a Mac device, so you have terminal. Drop down to see more information about the alert specifically. You can select all to remove, to snooze, or to resolve those alerts as you would need to. All right, and that brings us back to our devices page with a better understanding of how our automation profiles, how our patches works, and the threshold profiles that are assigned to your devices. Now you have a better understanding of what you're seeing over here. So everything from the device itself, when it was last logged in, the assigned customer, its availability, and of course the alerts that are being triggered by the threshold profile, and the available patches. From here, I can just go ahead and select manage, and then I can deploy the patches that are available to this device. This again will take a couple of seconds to load as we're checking for the currently available patches, making sure everything is up to date. I can go ahead and select specifically. I can select all and install them directly from here. I can mass install by selecting all. You have that option, of course, over here as well, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I did mention the SNMP device. I don't want to forget that. So let's go ahead and find one of our SNMP devices. Instead of looking, why don't I show you the best way to find your SNMP device? Let's go ahead and find that device type. Click on SNMP. Here we go. All of our SNMP devices are currently, okay, this one is online. So let's go ahead and select the Linux MSP. Okay. From here, we will be able to see who this is assigned to. So here you can see the change monitoring agent. So currently it is assigned to Allo DC02. All right, so let's go ahead and find Allo DC02. Remove that filter for SNMP devices. Okay. My screen frozen. I apologize. Allo DC1, Allo DC2. Okay. So this is the monitoring agent for that SNMP device. If I click on if I click on edit, I'm sorry, I was correct. I go to my monitor devices. Here I can see the Linux agent or the SNMP device that I'm monitoring. Currently, you're able to monitor Linux devices as SNMP devices. Over the next week or so, we will be deploying the Linux agent to our production environment, and you will be able to monitor Linux agents natively without having to worry about SNMP. You can just go ahead and install the Linux agent for that. I believe it's going to be available on Ubuntu and Debian. Those are the two Linux. I forgot the term for the operating systems specifically, or the types that they are, the family of so, you know what I mean. So yeah, Ubuntu and Debian will be supported. More to come as we go. All right, let's take a quick look at our reports. We have about 10 minutes left within this for this webinar. So again, I really hope I am giving you showing you the value of our RMM capabilities. I hope I'm answering the questions and the things that you're hoping to see. I'll be more than happy to answer, even if it's off topic. You know, go ahead and write it into the Q&A, and I'll be happy to answer what you guys got. All right, so Atera's reports. A quick note about reports. Atera has all of these available pre-built reports for you. We have an integration coming within the next couple of days. It's currently also with our beta testers, advanced reports. The advanced reports are more specific to the things that you may want. For those of you that are going to be our power users, our high tier users, you'll have the ability to customize your own reports. For our growth users, there is going to be some more template reports that are going to be available to you. It is going to be powered by Looker, which is a reporting tool made by Google. We're going to integrate that with our platform, so you'll have more customizability, visibility over the types of information you would like to see, more than just our pre-built reports. So if there's something that you're interested that you can't see here, just know that will be made available with our custom reports, but that may mean you may need to upgrade your accounts to a higher tier to have that feature available to you. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the reports that we got. System at a glance report is going to show you a general alerts. Let's go ahead and generate that. Here you can see a breakdown. We have 73 alerts. Of them, 58 have been closed, 15 are backlogged, and the average close time for me closing my reports is 2 hours and 26 minutes. That may be good, that may not be good. I don't really know, but you guys are MSPs, you guys are professionals, you're monitoring your technicians, you know what's okay, what's not okay. You can see the report breaks everything down for you. The report can be exported. This is a very graphical one, so it's going to be exported as a PDF. Some of the more data ones are going to be available in Excel as well, or exclusively, depending on the type of report. Reports can be scheduled. That way you don't have to manually run them every single time period that you prefer. You can have these run well, whatever schedule you set. Select the parameters for the select the parameters for the report, click on schedule, and this window pops up. Give it a description and add who you would like the report to go to. Some of the reports are in-house reports. So for example, the alerts, this can only be sent to yourself or one of your technicians. Some other reports are available to go to your customers. That can be customer-facing reports. So that's an overview of the work that you've done, ticket history, things like that. You have the option of selecting a technician or a customer. The technician and the customer have to exist within your Atera CRM in order for them to be able to receive these reports. So go ahead and select whoever it is, and then when you would like it to run. So if it's once a day, once a week, a month, whatever it is, you have all of that flexibility to set it up over here. The scheduler is the same across the board, again, with the exception of technician or technician and customer, depending on the type of report. So I'm not going to go through that every single time. Customer health is going to give you a snapshot of a customer health based on alert history. So the types of alerts, the previous report is just going to show you an overview of all of your reports. This is going to show you the health of a customer based on the type of alerts that you have. So here you can see that I have 4 alerts. 100% of those alerts are critical alerts. Puts my customer at about a 50% health rate. I want to be at 100% health rate, so I don't want to have any open reports, any open alerts for my customers. Agent health, this is again going to show you the agent health score. So if we go ahead and select the customer, I can select I can be specific for the device, or I can be general, and this is going to show you everything that there is to see for the agent health. The auditor report. This is a very important report that most of our customers use on a reoccurring basis. This is going to show you essentially all of the information that there is about every single device within your specific customer's environments. Hardware, software, installed, uninstalled, all of that availability, all that information is available to you over here. Everything that the Atera agent is pulling from the device is available to be viewed from the auditor report. Any information that you guys want to see added here, let us know. We're constantly adding and updating this information. So for example, BIOS information, this was a massive request from our customers. So we added that in for you guys. Laptops now have battery health information as well as BitLocker has been added as well, based on our community requests. So if you have more things that you would like to see in these reports, or more information to be monitored by the Atera agent without having to do any kind of extra stuff, let us know. We are more than happy to facilitate as we can. Microsoft licensing report. This is, of course, going to show you an overview of all of the Microsoft services deployed across all of your Windows devices for your customers. I have 17 stations. 3 of them have Microsoft Office. I got 2 Office keys and 15 operating system keys. All of that is, of course, visible, broken down based on my customers and their specific devices. I can see a map of what is connected to who. All of that is available, of course, from this report. Let's see, this one is, Excel and PDF, as I mentioned. You can also get specific for these specific customers, notify or showing them what you do. Patch, search, and deploy. This is probably one of our most important and most critical patch-related reports. I'm not going to filter out anything specific, and I'll show you why it's as useful as it is. So the patch, search, and deploy report, if you pull it for all of your devices and all of your customers, will show you all of the available patches within Atera. Right now, there's 277 patches available for my devices. Of those, 213 are installed. I can see all of the devices that the patch has. I can see the agent that the patch has been installed, the specific patch ID number, or the patch KB number that is associated with the patch, the description, and the product, and all of that information that I need. But most importantly, I can see all of my devices that don't have a specific patch installed onto them. From here, I can select all and install, again, without having to go specifically for my customer, agent, patch, install, update. I can just do it over here without having to break a sweat. If I onboarded a new customer, and I know that there is a malicious, or not a malicious, it's maybe not the best word, there is a problematic patch that has been going on recently, I can find that device, mark it for removal, remote it to the device, and remove that patch by just accessing that device through the remote tool. At this time, we don't have the ability to remove patches. That is something that we are going to be adding in the near future. It's in our pipeline. So for any questions regarding that, that is coming. Patch status summary. This is a report that is going to, of course, show you the automation reports that have gone through. The patch status summary is going to show you all of the devices that have available patches that have not been installed yet. And then here you can see the agent name, the operating system, and the missing patches. So here I have this device that's missing 6 patches. This device is missing. This is my laptop. It's missing 21 patches. Interesting. Oh, no, this is a different one. I know which one this is. That device is offline. The patch automation and feedback report. This is the report that you're going to pull to see which of your automation profiles ran successfully. And if they didn't, why they didn't run successfully. This is a short period. I'm going to go with the last 120 days just so you can see more content. So 8 profiles have run in the last couple of months. They had 8 tasks. There was 12 agents to the report. The success rate is 38%. 5 actions have not been executed. A breakdown of all of those. So for example, this action failed on 3 agents. This action was successful on 2 agents, probably because these were offline, these were online. This is unable to fetch information. So you can see essentially which profiles ran which ones didn't, why they did, or why they didn't. You have the profile name, when it was scheduled to go, and when it actually when it was triggered. You can export this and share with your customers. That way they can see the work that you do for them. And last but not least, our software inventory report. This is going to show you a complete breakdown of all of the software installed across all of the devices across all of your customers. You can see a total. I have 214 software installed across all of my environments. I can search by software name. So let's say Chrome. I got to spell it correctly. Here I can see all of my devices that have Google Chrome installed. I can, of course, check. I can look by, is it Microsoft, not Windows? Yeah, software publisher. And then here I can see the number of devices that have that specific software installed. So let's say Microsoft Edge. I don't want Microsoft Edge. Oh, I can't uninstall it. Probably these are offline. If the device is online, here we go. I can go ahead and uninstall software directly from here. I can click uninstall and that will run automatically, or I can select which specific devices I would like to uninstall that from this report, the ability to do so. As long as silent uninstall is supported, we can uninstall from here. This is also, of course, available to be exported for whatever reasons that you may need. So that is an overview of our reports, all of the RMM related ones. Again, I don't see any questions have come in. So I hope I gave you guys a good explanation as to all of the RMM capabilities that we have available over here. If there aren't any questions, then thank you. I appreciate you guys joining me today as I went through everything that we have to offer. Join us for any of our other webinars, as I mentioned earlier. I'll just go back to that page so you can see it again. We have network discovery, patching, ticketing, and billing, as well as access to the Atera knowledge base, support.atera.com, the Atera blog for all of your reading pleasures of information, best how-tos, best practices, all the wonderful stuff. The Facebook group, definitely join that, Atera.com, Facebook, just search for the Atera community, join there. And of course, the 24/7 live chat, which I forgot to show you actually where that's located. So I'm just going to go back to the Atera platform really quickly. Here we go. If you click on the question mark over here, is you have the live chat option, 24/7, no bots. We don't like bots. We like real people. So you can just go ahead and access that over here. The help center will direct you to support.atera.com. That's where you have access to the knowledge base articles and all of the other options that I mentioned, as well as signing up, registering to one of our reoccurring webinars. All of that is available over here. For any feedback, feature requests, all of that is available from the feature board, which is available from your account dropdown at the top right-hand side. Just click on feature board and you'll be redirected to user voice, where you should be automatically logged in. If it's the same, yep, you can see that I'm automatically logged in. And here you can see all of the feature requests made by customers. You can vote for something. So for example, mobile device management, this is a big one. It is currently under review. Password protect Atera for uninstall, so that way the end users can't accidentally remove the Atera agent. This is something that is planned, so on and so forth. You can comment on it, be notified when the status changes, and when this goes into production. All of that is going to be available over there for you. All right, that concludes our time together. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to follow up, success@atera.com. Reach out to our live chat or via email if you prefer, support@atera.com. We'll be more than happy to help out in any which way that we can. Again, thank you so much. Have yourselves a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're located around the world. Adios.